What's good, YouTube? We back with more from Josh. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hope that everyone is doing well today. We got a special video. This is the only way to settle this debate. This is the GOAT debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Obviously, LeBron James is the GOAT, and he's my GOAT, and now I back it up every single time. But without further ado, let's get right to this video.
Ranking NBA players is useless, but it's also really fun. Every NBA fan at some point has created their own ranking. It's like our official pastime at this point. And with the game as data-driven and awards and accomplishments as absolute as the NBA has, you'd think ranking players would be a fairly simple task. But despite the countless efforts to make a flawless, coherent all-time ranking of NBA players, no one can seem to get it quite right. Some players rank too high, others too low, some not even ranked at all. Make any of these mistakes and your ranking will immediately get dismissed. The latest attempt of this fleeting endeavor came last week from Bleacher Report when they released their top 100 NBA players.
That's a good
Fleeting
thumbnail.
endeavor came last week from Bleacher
That's a good
Report
thumbnail,
when they
not gonna lie.
released their
I had to
top
capture
100
that. I had to capture that thumbnail.
list. A ranking that seemed relatively good, but was met with an onslaught of criticism. Like everyone else that made an attempt before them, this list was not accurate. Not good enough. Why is it so difficult to make an all-time ranking that we can all agree on? I mean, we all have our own opinion, our own personal bias. Is it even possible to make such a list? And if we could, how would we even create it? Well, believe it or not, there is a method that we can use to rank every player in NBA history with shockingly good accuracy. It doesn't use any numbers or data, no formulas or advanced metrics. It is a method way simpler than you would ever think, and yet manages to get results with nearly 100% accuracy. Even crazier, we actually use this method all the time.
I like this guy's videos. He be speaking numbers, statistics. He be accurate too. And his
Today's video
videos are
is
quite
sponsored by
entertaining.
SeatGeek. Whether you're looking for concert tickets or the best seats at the game, SeatGeek has it all. The Bleacher Report released their top 100 NBA players ever list. And to absolutely no one's surprise, people were not happy about it. Among some of the more glaring complaints about Bleacher Report's list include Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the now MVP, Finals MVP, and champion, not even making the list. Jason Tatum landing at 93. John Stockton ranked ahead of players like Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, and of course Kobe Bryant falling outside of the top.
That was whoever did this was definitely successful for the rage bait. You know, for a huge Kobe fans out there, and coming from a Lakers fan, Kobe's my favorite shooting guard of all time. This was definitely disrespectful. You had Kobe at 11, and then you have Curry at the 10. Let's be real. Kobe at 11? No.
10. Despite polling their staff of NBA experts, writers, and editors, the results of this comprehensive ranking only left people confused and annoyed. Ranking players should not be this difficult, and yet it is. But to understand why it's so difficult, we first need to understand why every ranking, no matter how thought out it is, how logical the criteria is, how much data was used, always falls short. One popular approach that some fans and experts have taken over the years is the formula method. Create a point-based system and apply those points to various factors like career stats, accolades, and impact to make an objectively accurate ranking. A method that has been tested countless times with varying—
That's a lot of math and a lot of numbers.
levels of success. Last year, John Hollinger, longtime NBA analyst and a man credited with creating some of the first advanced NBA statistics, created a formula to determine his all-time top 100 list. His criteria being a point-based system that put varying levels of weight into factors like MVP shares, finals MVPs, win shares, and career box plus minus. A formula that resulted in LeBron as the GOAT, Jordan second, Kareem third, Duncan fourth, and Karl Malone fifth all time. This list also features Harden at 13, Hakeem at 19, Steph all the way down at 27, and Isaiah Thomas at 65. This Reddit user went through the trouble of creating an entire model from scratch to achieve the goal of, as he put it, quantifying careers using a formula that combines accolades with simple advanced stats while compensating for era and benchmarking, plus adjusting the weights of the formula against approximate expected rankings using least squared regression. In other words, he used a whole lot of stats and accolades, made some applicable adjustments, and put together an all-time top 100 ranking. The results came in, and people hated it.
I'm not surprised, but let's just ignore the haters for a second.
100 ranking.
I salute to this guy, to the person who did this. Do y'all not have any idea how much time you have to put in to put all this together? Which means you gotta have all the numbers. You gotta be 100% accurate, because one thing about numbers, you can't mess up. You can't mess up at all. You can't fuck it up. One small error and everything is ruined. So this is actually amazing. Wow. I know this took a lot of time though. I can only imagine.
Results came in, and people hated it.
I mean, and the people that do hated it were probably casuals.
The glaring flaw in this method, as well as every other method that attempts to be
if we're trying to come up with them, see, it's the bullshit right here that be like piss me off. And excuse my language, kids, if y'all are watching this. People, that's what's wrong in today's society, is that people are too lazy to read and research. They're too lazy to do it. It's like if they see something, they're gonna automatically just believe it. No, that's not how that works. It is important to do your research.
completely objective in its approach is that it's not objective. Even concrete things like stats and awards will inevitably have some sort of weight or value attached to them based partially off of opinion. What is a championship worth, and how do you factor it in? Should there be an era tax on players who played half a century ago? If there is, when does it no longer apply? The 80s? 90s? Is peak more important than longevity, or is it the other way around?
Oh, that's a good question. Peak or longevity? What do y'all think in the comments? If you had to pick out of these two based on your career, like if you was in the league right now, would you rather pick peak or longevity? That's actually a good question. And you can't pick both. You have to honestly pick one. For me, on the other hand, I'll probably say longevity because I will have my peak moments.
Even awards themselves, like MVPs and DPOYs, are voted on by people with their own personal bias. Creating some sort of formula involves attributing value to all of these things, but without any impartial method of weighing all of these factors without injecting some sort of personal bias, the pursuit of creating a perfectly accurate ranking becomes virtually impossible. So, what if we just remove the personal bias? What if we becomes virtually impossible? So,
Top three in NBA history, no debate, according to team Michael Jordan, LeBron career. Yeah, this is accurate. Top three. I don't see nothing wrong with this.
what if we just remove the personal bias? What if we strictly use data and numbers, two important factors that have no bias, to make a completely accurate and nonpartisan all-time ranking? Well, because the rankings get really weird really fast. For example, Box Plus Minus has Nikola Jokic as far and away the best player of all time. It also has Luka Doncic 4th, David Robinson
Luka at 4. Chris Paul at the 10, Kawhi, Steph at number 12. How come Jokic? Hold on, let me go back to see. What does it read? Best player moment?
far and away the best player of all time.
Best player of all time? Jokic do be hitting some crazy shit though, but I don't
It also
know. I don't see
As
this.
Luka Doncic 4th, David Robinson 6th, and Tim Duncan 19th. But In the right hands, and with enough data, and when used in conjunction with one another, a purely data-driven approach could lead us in the right direction. And this is what Ben Taylor of Thinking Basketball did back in 2017 when he created his top 40 list. As Ben says when describing his methodology, I won't attempt to balance Kobe's championships with Shaq, nor do I care about accolades like all-star teams or the number of Hall of Fame teammates someone played with. I also don't care about how many rings a player won. The very thing I'm trying to tease out is who provided the most lift. Instead of trying to assign value to things like rings and MVPs, Ben's list ranks players based on who provided the largest increase in the odds of a team winning a championship over the course of their career.
That's another thing too, which also ruins debates. Championships, accolades. Well, accolades such as MVPs, Defense Player of the Year. But let's just scratch that. Let's just put that to the side. Championship is what ruins the debates. Unfortunately,
Ben's specific method
because there's a lot of great players who unfortunately never won an NBA championship, like Allen Iverson, Reggie Miller, Karl Malone, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Chris Paul, real soon. I mean, the list goes on and on.
And reasoning is probably the best out there when it comes to seeking an objective ranking, using the best advanced metrics available and using them logically to find the most accurate conclusion. The results of this experiment were eventually updated in 2022 and are generally accepted as a really solid list without the outliers or massive holes that other lists have. The only problem is, this is not an all-time player ranking. As Ben stated, this list is a player evaluation, not necessarily a ranking of the greatest players of all time. And it's evaluating how good these players were, their abilities and their effectiveness in using those abilities, not how great they were or what they accomplished. A great exercise in determining which players had the largest impact on the court, but not the best method in determining how that impact actually translated to tangible success. For example, this method is providing evidence that Karl Malone had a larger statistical impact than Stephen Curry over the course of his career, but I'm not sure if there's a single human being on planet Earth that would argue Karl Malone is greater than Steph is. Using purely statistics and data to rank players removes
Oh, I'm tripping. We got Carmelo Anthony too, who never won a championship. How do I forget that?
Valuable context that certainly matters when evaluating how great they were throughout their career. However, allowing awards and achievements to partially dictate rankings will inherently skew the results due to personal bias and variance of opinion. So looking
I literally just said this not too long ago, that championships and accolades and accomplishments ruins debates.
at it through either of these lenses will lead you to inaccurate results. But maybe we're looking at this through the wrong lens altogether. We as fans are going to be biased. It's the very nature of being a fan. My team's great and they can do no wrong. So if we need to factor everything in, but we cannot do that without inserting some sort of bias, what if instead of trying to remove all bias from the equation, we factor this bias into the equation?
Warrior fans, y'all hear that? Let's put that to the side real quick.
By asking fans what it is they value most when ranking players. If the accuracy of the rankings is determined by the fans, then so should the criteria. Well, that's exactly what this Reddit user did.
Including other NBA fans too. Let's put the bias to the side.
Back in 2020, an NBA fan on Reddit took it upon himself to survey other NBA fans, 662 of them to be exact, on not just what's important to them in terms of greatness, but even what kind of fan they are. Among some of the questions asked were, how long have you been watching the NBA for? The most popular answer was 6.
How old was I in 2011? Around 13 to 15 years.
To 9 years. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a fan of the NBA are you? Over 80% of the results being at least an 8 out of 10. But here's where things get interesting. One of the questions asked was, what do you think is more important
9.5
in a player's career? Team success or individual success? 52% of voters said team success and 48% said individual success.
What do y'all think about this? I'll say both. Because you could be a great player and have success as an individual, but if the team isn't winning anything, not winning championships, then that's gonna hurt. Like, like Kobe for an example. After him and Shaq, parted ways, Kobe was dominating the league, of course, but he was only dominating in a number standpoint, and the team wasn't winning. I mean, obviously they was, in the mix of rebuilding, but they wasn't like they was winning games or whatever, but they wasn't like making it to the playoffs or the championship. Or even if they did make it to the playoffs, they wouldn't make it past the first round. Now let's look at guys like, Michael Jordan, dominating number standpoint, wasn't winning nothing as a team when they got Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. Jordan was still being Jordan, dominating in the numbers, and as a team, they were successful because they was winning championships. So my opinion, I said it is both. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Which one of y'all think is more important? Individual success or team success? I say both. Individual and team success.
Almost an even 50-50 split between NBA fans in response to a very important question.
But if I had to pick one though, team success.
With two
because you could be great, but if you're not winning as a team, then what's the point?
very different answers. Even more revealing, voters were asked what are the top 3 most important measures when evaluating who the greatest of all time is. The number 1 answer, career stats, followed by number of championships, number of regular season MVPs, total win shares, and career advanced statistics. The near 50-50 split between the importance of team success versus individual success visible in the almost even voting split between career stats and number of championships. One person can make their rankings based on how good a player was, meanwhile another person could make their rankings based on how much success a player had. Two completely different criterias. So how exactly can we make a player ranking that is agreed upon if we can't even agree on what actually matters, or at least what matters most? No matter what approach you take, no matter how much personal bias or opinion you try to take out of it, the results will always end up skewed in some sort of direction. There's just too many factors, difference in opinion, difference in what matters most from fan to fan. But there is one way, one method that has been proven to be the best way to get to an accurate conclusion about things otherwise not agreed upon. What is this scientifically backed method? It's the exact one Bleacher Report used. Ask people, have you ever seen the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Let's play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire right now.
It was a game show where contestants would answer a series of multiple choice questions, with each correct answer winning them more money and progressively getting more difficult until the eventual $1 million question. Now, this game show would feature one sole contestant at a time who had to answer these questions by themselves. However, each contestant was granted what were called lifelines, tools the contestant could use to help them answer difficult questions. These 3 lifelines were 50-50, eliminate 2 of the 4 options in a multiple choice question, leaving the contestant with a 50% chance of getting the right answer. Phone a friend, where the contestant could call a friend live on the show for help. And the third one was Ask the Audience, where each member of the audience would vote on what they thought was the correct answer to any given question. All of these lifelines were valuable, but one of them in particular resulted in the correct answer far more than the others. The 50-50 lifeline, as the name suggests, got contestants to the correct answer about 50% of the time. Phoning a friend resulted in contestants getting the correct answer 66% of the time.
Oh, wow.
But asking the audience resulted in the correct answer
25%.
92% of the time.
What?
By far, the most accurate method of coming to the correct answer for any question in the show's history. And this is a demonstration of a concept known as the wisdom of the crowd, an idea that refers to the collective judgment of a group of people often being more accurate than the judgment of any single individual, even an expert. And it is an incredibly accurate method of arriving on the correct answer to any logical question. In 2011, the BBC network put this concept to the test by filling a jar with jelly beans and asking 160 contestants how many jelly beans they thought were in the jar. The answers were absolutely insane, ranging from 500 to 50,000, and yet somehow their collective average was unbelievably close to the actual number. After conducting their experiment, it was revealed that there were exactly 4,510 jelly beans in the jar. The average guess among all 160 participants? 4,515. Despite their variance in answers, on average, the participants were able to get within 99.9% of the correct answer. By aggregating the opinions or estimates of many individuals, the errors and biases of individual judgment tend to cancel each other out, leading to a collective result that is closer to the truth. And in possibly the most roundabout way I could conjure up, I think this same exact concept can be applied to ranking NBA players on an all-time list. Regardless of what the individuals value most and our own personal bias, if you ask enough people, chances are you'll more than likely end up at an accurate result. Better than strictly using stat-based metrics, better than the eye test or a combination of multiple factors. Simply asking people who the greatest players of all time are will show you exactly who the greatest players of all time are. And evidence of this can be found within the results of Bleacher Report's ranking. Someone ranked Kobe Bryant 18th all time. Their personal top 100 ranking is probably a little wacky, but this vote inadvertently balances out someone else who voted Kobe 4th all time. Same goes for every single player on this list. Someone had Jokic 12th all time, another voter had him 28th, and everyone else had him somewhere in between. The range of votes for Charles Barkley are probably the largest of any player on this list, with one vote for him as the 18th greatest player and another with him as the 74th greatest player. With individual rankings like this, you'd think the final result would be a mess, and yet Barkley ended up being ranked 25th all time, right about where he should be. Can we make a completely accurate ranking of the greatest NBA players ever? Well, we can get really close. In terms of how we would create it and what it would look like, you're looking at it. This isn't a matter of opinion, it is a statistical principle. As Bleacher Report put it when describing their methodology, it's an impossible task, especially when confronted with the reality of comparing players from different eras. Stats help, but calculators won't ever figure all of this out. But asking enough people just might.
Great video. I definitely learned a lot in this one. Hope everyone enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will see you in the next video. Be safe and God bless.